Today, I wanted to talk about a common thread I've seen amongst some content creators in the Destiny 2 space. I'm not going to name those creators because the point of this video isn't to point fingers, it's simply just to have a conversation about this topic. And what is the thread? It is blaming other content creators for either not hyping the game up enough or farming negative videos. Now, the former is true. People do farm negative videos. They get the most views out of anything else. That's just the truth. There's a reason that every time you see Bungie make a post about anything, regardless of whether it's good or bad, people flock to the comments and Twitter threads to perpetuate hate against the devs no matter what. There is a slew of gremlins out there that only exist to despise everything the company does, and they really need to find a hobby. But today we're mainly going to talk about why it is that there are so many negative videos about the game right now, and honestly, it's quite simple. The Destiny cycle. Throughout Destiny's history, the cycle has provided the "we're so backs" and the "it's overs," and the community sentiment has always mirrored the state of the game. There's a couple of reasons why that happens, and especially why it's happening right now. First point is people are feeling the franchise fatigue, and it's okay to branch out and play other games, especially in a time like this while the game is essentially in a damage control state. And two, talking about damage control, the game is in an objectively bad state. Now, I understand the point is that it's easier to make hateful videos about Destiny right now than it is to put any effort into something creative or positive. However, that is the result of how the game feels. People will also flock to YouTube and Reddit when the game is in a generally accepted good state. Just so happens that we're in the extreme opposite of a good state right now. Being able to cut through the criticism, the constructive criticism, and the hate is very important, and giving this feedback allows for the devs and management at Bungie to see they need to make changes and to listen to the community. Don't get me wrong, there are some weirdos out there that don't deserve the time of day and make unsavory threats. That, however, is a loud minority, and a vast majority of people come to forums like this to express constructive criticism to hopefully invoke beneficial change for everyone playing the game. And the sheer fact that this cycle exists shows some of the inconsistency that Bungie has had with Destiny releases over the years. Hence, the callback to the memes, "we're so back" and "it's over." This tells you everything you need to know. That there are good times to play Destiny and bad times, and right now is, well, you get it. I think now more than ever we're seeing more people branch out. Playing just one game seems so pointless to me, especially when it seems like the game is actually dying. I don't think it will, but I mean, listen, as a content creator, it's better to just diversify your content anyway, and it's healthy from a gaming perspective as well, even more so when Bungie so blatantly ignores the issues with the game. It took Bungie a full year to acknowledge that certain graphics cards cause crashes after a certain amount of playtime. It's not like this is a bug that makes gameplay slightly inconvenient or something along those lines, but it legit destroys your experience. Right? Imagine you're doing a raid race, or maybe even watching a raid race that typically lasts a long time, long enough to incur this crash, and you lose said race because of that crash. Skill issue, just use a timer and reset your game every 7 to 8 hours, goofy. Yeah, you can do that, but you shouldn't have to. Furthermore, it is one thing to communicate that you know these glitches exist if you're Bungie. It's another to do something about it, which either seems to take Bungie months. In the case of the GPU issue, it took a year, like I said, or the patches for bugs and glitches come out and they actually make things worse. There's no consistency, there's no communication. That's another reason why we've arrived here. And it allows you to arrive at the conclusion that the way Bungie operates is the problem, or at least part of the problem. Part of me believes that devs at Bungie are intentionally messing with the game, which is crazy to say out loud. But they're doing, like, in my head, my headcanon, which is totally not true. But part of me believes that they're doing this so that Sony can take over faster. We already know this process has begun. I highly doubt it's true. The more likely case is that Bungie just doesn't have the staff to pump out content the way they used to. And we know this because they've gone through several rounds of layoffs to a point where they've lost 40% of their staff. 40%. That's a lot. Almost seems as if this is a last-ditch effort by Justin Truman and Pete Parsons before his departure, because, you know, his influence still may have some effect on the company, as he only departed about like a month or two ago. But, you know, give it 2 more solid shakes with Renegades and Edge of Fate to see if they can salvage what's left of the goodwill in the community and hopefully not have Sony take over. But that's seemingly failed, and time again we've seen Destiny thrive when there is ample time to develop these expansions. And, you know, you can take Witch Queen and Final Shape, for example, 2 expansions that got delayed and are remembered by the community as 2 of the best DLCs to ever launch. This is a guesstimate because we got the early dev insight for Codename Frontiers around September 2024, assuming they started development around that time for Edge of Fate, maybe a little bit before then. They had about a year to 10 months, or 10 months to a year of development time. As again, September 2024, the release was around July 2025. However, the Final Shape, if we use the same method of tracking development time, which is about a month before Lightfall's release, which is typically around the time they start development of these projects, maybe a couple months before. But again, using that model, we could say that Final Shape had at least a year and 5 months of dev time, which is a 7-month difference, more than half a year of added development time. That completely makes sense in my brain because of the difference in content and quality in the Final Shape compared to Edge of Fate. In finality, pun intended, I know that the community and content creators can be an issue, but it isn't completely true that all creators want to farm negative sentiment on the game. It just happens to be where we're at right now. And it's a bit of both, right? There are some out there, like in any group of people, that do enjoy negative aura farming. There's no way to avoid that, unfortunately. It's not black and white, cue the Pokemon music. There's nuance to this. There is some level of blame to be placed on the wider community, but not all of it belongs there. That sentence doesn't make any sense. Take Dado's case, for example. There were a few bad apples in his YouTube chat that just pushed him over the edge. I think most of his desire to take a break stems from the fact that he's burnt out, and understandably so, after 10 plus years of playing and covering Destiny. But for sure, the weirdos also contributed to this for the most part. And part of the reason why I assume that is because generally he's a positive guy, and that makes those who despise Destiny 2 or Bungie hate him. Like, how dare you enjoy a game that I despise, or a product from a company that I despise? Regardless of all of that, I hope Bungie can actually take all of this ire and make it into an awesome DLC come December with Renegades, but the prevalence of the cycle leads me to believe it might be okay, which isn't gonna help Bungie all that much right now. But again, I can be hopeful, okay? Anyway, thanks for watching. Sub if you'd like to see more, and see ya.